Hello, ladies and Jeddah, welcome to the Jeddah Track Guide and Setup. And like you always hear from me, let's get into the track intro first. So, Jeddah high speed corners in sector 1 mostly, where you can see the background we are doing our outlap here. This is the majority of the section where high speed corners are. And then sector 2 and sector 3 are just straights divided by some high speed chicanes. So you're going to be needing downforce for sector 1 and you're going to be needing top speed for sector 2 and sector 3. So how do you compromise setup? We'll come to that at the end. But generally it's a very low downforce track. And we are also using the C5 soft tires, C4 mediums and C3 hard tires. So tire temperatures can be an issue around here. And we'll talk about that in the setup as well. In the meantime, if you love our setups, all the track guides that we've been doing so far, and if you want to suggest any improvement, leave a like, subscribe, and leave it in the comments. What do you think we can improve on? And in the background, like I said, C5 tires, you want to bring them up to 75 degrees Celsius. Although they start working from 70 onwards, it's safer to bring them up to 75 because sometimes they cool down a little bit. Now, to start your lap, you can take a very, very wide line from this exit here. So you carry a bit more speed, top speed into the first corner. 1 to 2 kph more along this long straight can give you about half a tenth to 1/10 easily. And brake bias down to 53, medium ERS all the way. And I prefer to use my ERS on overtake very early from here. Because it's a short line from the start till turn 1, I get more deployment to use at the end. Anyway, into turn 1 here, you want to spot that 100-meter board from far away. But sometimes if it's difficult to spot that, try to look for this orange, the yellow barrier, the marshal post here. Right after that, and before you arrive at the 100-meter board, that's going to be your braking point. And start turning into the first corner. You can use this lighter shade of a track patch to guide you in. And on the entry, be careful of that wall there. If you hit the wall, you're going to invalidate the lap anyway. But cut a lot of this first curb in order to open up the next right-hander, which will allow you to further carry more speed on the exit. So, but be careful, you will need quite a bit of right height to clear this ground, And now for the next right-hander here, turn 2, just a tap on the brakes if you need to slow down the car, and then tight on the entry. And then on the exit here, be careful not to go onto this red and white curb, the green and white curb on the left hand side. It's a bit raised, has less grip, and can offset the car a little bit if you go on it. But otherwise, keep your car let your car run wide on the exit here, and then the next part here, this painted curb, and then this green and white curb is all flat. It's a flat curb, so you don't have to worry about bottoming out over there. And into this S section here, it's very tricky. And just before the track starts to curve away, you can see the curvature here. So right around 60 meters, that's going to be braking down to 5th gear or 4th gear. You can choose, either one is okay. I prefer to go in 4th gear and then upshift to 5th on the exit very quickly. So let's see how you can do this. There you go. And on the exit here, you want to use half of this curb here. Pretty much the middle of your car is on the middle of the curb. The trick here is to keep your steering wheel straight so that you can go full throttle sooner. Tight to the left, tight to the left, tight to the right, but avoid touching this curb here. And now this exit curb on the left hand side is the one that will catch out a lot of us, even the best of best drivers. Don't go any more than this, otherwise it will drag you onwards forever and ever. And now for this next right-hander, let's watch in slow-mo. You have to take it very tight. And then the next left-hander also take a little bit of the curb. On the exit, use up the right-hand curb. And there you go. Sector 1 is suddenly done. But it's the sector with the most corners, so you have to gain time there. Now into sector 2, the first part is this banking corner here. Yeah, take it in 4th gear, very high speed, carry a lot of speed on the exit, and stay tight to the right hand side initially, and bring your car over to the left hand side. And again, the moment the track starts to straighten out a bit, right around 50 meters here, that's where you're going to be braking. Down to 5th gear, tight on the entry, aim for the wall. That's a tip that helps. On the exit, use up that left curb a little bit, and use up the remaining of your battery down to 50% or 45%. Turn it off when the DRS is activated. And now we arrive at the hotel section. So one final chicane to navigate here. Look for this black box above you, but sometimes it's hard to spot that, or the 50-meter board. Either one, you can use that. And now down to 6th gear for qualifying. In the race is usually 5th gear. And you want to throw the car into the corner, turn in early, carry a lot of speed on the exit. So we'll watch this in slow-mo to see just how tight you have to be here, like pretty much on the dot there. Use up a lot of that exit curb and keep the steering wheel straight once again so you can accelerate quicker. Now use up the remaining of your ERS down to 10%, stay tight to the left and slowly bring the car over to the right hand side for the final corner. And look for the 100-meter board. You want to brake right after you pass it. So somewhere around 80 meters is your actual braking zone. And you can reduce your brake bias to 52 if you need to get more rotation on entry, which I do here. And then brake in a straight line and start turning in while braking. That's pretty much trail braking. Tight on the entry, and then let the car run right on the exit and bring it back to the left hand side for the shortest run. Use up the remaining of your battery and across the line. There you go. That is a lap around Jeddah Corniche Circuit. And I hope this guide helps you out a lot around here. And yeah, you can see here in the race director, you can pause this if you want to compare the lap times. But the summary here is sector 2 and sector 3 is where you'll be gaining majority of your lap time by using the overtake ERS correctly. And 1 second quicker than the 110 AI in qualifying. It's not much, but it helps you in the race as well. And now, very quickly, if you love what we're building so far, leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment if you need some help or just to show your support. Let the algorithm do its work. And now let's get into the race strategy. Before that, radio check. All good, sir. So let's start with the fuel. So you need at least half a lap of fuel extra, but you can also run on the dot 25.0. Even in running in clean air, you don't really need to burn extra fuel. But if you're in career mode or running higher downforce, then usually you need to start with a little bit more fuel. As for the tire strategy, it's a simple one stop here. Mediums to hards. You can even do the hards to mediums as an alternate strategy if you're starting at the back. So start with the mediums. As early as lap 7, you can pit already and take the hards till the end, but it's gonna struggle. So just pit around lap 9 or lap 10. Alternatively, if you're at the back of the pack, you want to try something different, 2-stop is possible. It's not quicker, but it can give you options to do a lot of overtakes and maybe jump a few people. So there you go. Lap 5 pit, take the next 20 laps, divide it in 2. First 10 for one hard, another 10 for the next hards. And now for the race setup here, similar to my qualifying setup, 17.5 on the wings. And again, this is considered quite low downforce around Jeddah because you will need the top speed to be able to overtake around here. It's kind of hard to overtake anyway, so if you want to go even lower downforce, something like 12.0, 10.0, yeah, that's like the lowest you can go already. But you may struggle in sector 1 a lot. So if you need more grip in sector 1, just increase your overall downforce by 2 or 3 clicks and you'll be good around the whole track anyway. And yeah, you can adjust the front wing also from qualifying to race and from pit stop to pit stop. I am starting on 17 front wing on the medium tires, and then, or you can also start on 18 if you want a bit more grip at the start, but I found 17 to be suitable for me. And then on my first and only pit stop, down to 16. If I'm making a second stop, then I'll go down to 16 or 15 accordingly, right, if I need to. Now transmission 130, quite standard in my setups here. 20 off throttle is useful if you want more grip, more rotation from the rears during qualifying, but it might be a little bit unstable. So keep it at 30 in the qualifying and in the race. You can also go up to 40 in the race for a little bit more stability, but I prefer 30 in qualifying and in the race. It felt okay to me anyway. Suspension geometry, all the way to the left for everything. However, if you struggle with a little bit of rear grip when the tires are starting to wear out, you can try a bit of rear toe in. So just 2 clicks, nothing more than that. Otherwise, the car becomes understeery everywhere. Like see here, there's a lot more front wing compared to rear wing. So the front is going to be pointy, the rear is going to be unstable. So you can add stability by increasing the rear toe in, or you can increase the rear camber by 1 or 2 clicks, so to give you that stability that you need. And in the race, it will help you to be more confident. In qualifying, you might lose a little bit of time, but doesn't matter. For suspension, the meta like it is in F1 25, stiff front and soft rears. So front suspension at 41 is absolutely the maximum you can go, and it's needed. You can lower your ride height to maybe about 18, but the car will be pointy and sharper on turn in, but it's going to be very unstable the moment you touch any curb around here. So you will need at least 20 or 21 front ride height around here. Otherwise, the moment you touch any curb, the car is going to spin around, especially in sector 1 where the high curbs are. And same for the rear, normally around 40 on the rear ride height, but around here you need to take a lot of the curbs and they're quite high. So up to 44 or 45 is a good range of ride height to use. So I'm just trying out 42, it works for me. And if you're running higher downforce in the car, then you can probably run 44, 45, right? So you get the downforce back from the wings. And yeah, you can reduce the rear suspension to 1 or keep it at 5. The difference is at 1, the lower you go, it gives you better traction in slower corners like turn 1 and 2. The higher you go, it gives you more stability in high speed. But if you go too high, then the car starts to over-rotate. So somewhere around 5 to 10 is a good range for the rear suspension to give you the high speed stability while giving you a good amount of slow speed stability also. And speaking of stability on the rear of the car, you also want to run minimum on the rear anti-roll bar. Quite soft, again, because you have so much more front wing here, right? So the front is going to be giving you the grip that you need to turn into corners. So you keep the rear anti-roll bar at 1 to keep it very stable. There's also an alternative you can try. So you can reduce the front wing to about 8, 9 or 10 and increase the rear anti-roll bar to around 10 to 15, right? So this way you're generating rotation from the rear instead of the front. It's useful in some tracks where you get a lot more front tire wear, for example China, right? But around here I find that the rear tires are wearing out more for me, so I prefer to keep the rear anti-roll bar at 1 and rely on the front wing to give me the grip initially into the corners. So again, 2 different ways you can set up your car, to each their own. So try that out and see which is suitable for you. And the front anti-roll bar, I am keeping it at 6, 5 or 6. It's I'm changing between those two from session to session anyway. I find it both the same. You can also go minimum on the front anti-roll bar to give you more grip initially in corner entry, but it's going to be unstable on corner exits. And the higher you go, the more stable it becomes in high speed, But if you go too high, sometimes like beyond 10 or 11, with the one anti-roll bar on the rear, yeah, if there's too much gap, the car becomes understeery and harder to control. And we move on to the brakes here. 100% brake pressure as usual. And for qualifying, I'm using 53 brake bias throughout the lap from first corner until the second last corner. And then for the final corner, I am using 52. So, it helps me to brake quite aggressively and quite late into the corner. As for the race, I'm starting on 53 and then going up to 54 and then up to 55 as the tires start to wear out more and more. So it helps the car to be a little bit stable. And tire pressures, maximum on the rear, and the front you can also run maximum or a little lower if you need to. The reason is, let's go back to the race strategy here. You can see at the bottom, like I mentioned earlier, C5 soft, C4 medium, C3 hard tires. So they are on the softer range for the available tire compounds in the game and in real life. So these compounds, they heat up much quicker and they wear out much quicker as well. So you need higher tire pressures in order to minimize tire temperature and also to minimize tire wear. For the front tires though, it really depends on how aggressive you are. If you are scrubbing the wheel a lot, you may need higher tire pressures. The reason I'm putting it a little bit lower is because, I have a lot more front wing. But if you have less front wing, you will notice that you may have a bit more front tire wear, and you can counter that by increasing the tire pressures a little bit. So, it's all about compromises, right? Do you want more tire wear, less tire wear, more grip and deal with the instability, all that stuff. So, you have to play around with that and find what's suitable for you. It's something like I always say in every setup. But anyway, in the background, you'll see this setup being displayed to you. And I'll leave you with the full speed hot lap right after this. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section and I will tend to it as soon as possible. Take care everyone, stay safe, and I'll see you very very soon for Baku Track Guide and Setup. See ya.
Yes, excellent lap. We're all very, very pleased with that one. Nice work. Come on, I'll see you back in the pits. I like it.